Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure.
So, Sue, you just came back from a big adventure, and I have not. I've refrained from asking you until it was recorded because I want to hear it fresh. I want to hear all about it. Like, what was the key moment? And first, you better re-explain where you went.
Okay, so hang on. This is like a cold start. You said you have all this stuff that you want to
I do,
talk
but
about.
I want to hear about yours too. I'm excited. You've been gone.
Okay.
You've done the thing out of the country.
Okay, so yeah, I did. We did travel out of the country, and we went to France. I have to say, it's a surreal thing, especially the time period that we went. Left on election day, and all that implies. And it's funny how we're just not too long after this, and we're still that's kind of like in the past, and having to deal with all that. So that's one element. And then the other element is we arrive and we're going to an Airbnb, and of course, it's Europe. The buildings are hundreds of years old, and that's amazing. And you walk in. There's two steps down, and then there's two more steps. And then you go to the living area, and then there's a step up to the bedroom, and then a step up to the bathroom,
Oh,
and so of course, Melinda
you
falls.
slipped.
No, not me. Melinda falls and re-injures her injured upon injury leg, and so that set the tone for the whole thing. We had, as much as it was wonderful and amazing, and people were helpful and everything. Someone's in pain the whole time, and struggling to walk. So that had another part on it.
Wow.
Elections, post-elections, injured leg, um, you
In
know,
another country.
and then the realization that you can't sit there and complain about things. My God, you're fulfilling dreams of seeing a city that you wanted to see, and do things you want to do, and meeting new people and everything. So surreal is the best answer that I have for you.
Excellent answer. And I think, isn't this true for just life in general? It doesn't matter where you are. You just took yourself and the reality of life, plopped it in another country, and things happen.
Yes, to some degree, but this seems very different than anything else. I mean, I think when you're a young person and you're out discovering the world and doing things, it's all in a big adventure, or maybe it deflates you, or whatever your reaction might be. But for our age, and then again, election day and the fallout from that, and being we met up with at the first part of our trip. We met up with friends who are journalists, and so of course they have massive amounts to talk about, and we're all trying to digest things and talk about it, and yet still be where we are and try to enjoy it and see each other and enjoy that. So this is weird, very weird, just situation. And then to go on and meet these other people in our tour group that after our time with the Airbnb, we went with our tour group, and then instructions are we're not talking about the election, because there could be people
It could
who
be
feel,
massively dividing. Yeah.
yes, and artificially stifling that, it just felt very odd and very
Awkward.
weird, and so
Inauthentic.
yeah, and so and then along with this, going, oh my God, we are this is how can you complain about any of it, and yet you're on the edge of this existential fear and threat and everything else. So it's very odd, and it's not like anything else I've ever experienced. So that's my basic takeaway. Now I've got lots of other things that I can talk about, but that's my basic takeaway. So how about you? You said,
This is
okay, hold it.
it's
We haven't talked.
no, we haven't. So, listeners, this is our first reunion after weeks apart.
Yes, and you said just turn on the recording as soon as you call, and I'm like, well, something's going on. So, hello there.
Well, it's not like that monumental, but it is. So, I there's been two phases or two paralleling things. Um, I've been doing a lot of business research, and I have now this amazing mentor that's through our government, and it's this from the Small Business Association. And this man has been the perfect fit. Like, if you believe in destiny, I couldn't have dialed up a better human being. And it's been monumental in opening up my eyes to, and you and I've always talked about this, like the mastering of a craft. Like, teaching is a craft. Well, this man has done everything in the food business, from owning a restaurant to running supper clubs to catering. So it is amazing when you can tap into someone who has mastered their craft and how they can open up your world to things you couldn't even conceive, no matter how much you Googled. So that path has been very interesting, and I'll share more in a minute. And then the other path has been, when I first moved back, I just realized this. When I first moved back to my home, I lived alone. And it was truly also a very spiritual reconnecting to my home, the memories, leaving behind the marriage where I lived for 30 years. It was a healing process. And this time now I'm alone again. Maria's in Cuba doing her work for the business. And it's been the greatest thing, Sue, because without a soul in this house but me, in an awakened state of the new person I've become and built myself after healing, I have never been more delighted in my company. I love being alone. I love it. Like, I can't get enough of it. I'm kind of getting like ferocious over it, like put out if I'm interrupted, because I am so loving this time. But I think it's paralleling with this whole world I'm creating with this business. It's because the more I'm alone, the sharper I am in my vision, the more purpose I'm feeling, the more meaning in this way I'm going into the business. And that purpose, I think this is my moment. I believe that when we have a real purpose to live outside of ourselves and do something better for humanity, it's like a fuel that is so igniting. I feel like a rocket ship, because what I'm now going into is like the bigger value, which is philanthropy. So anyway, that's what it's been: a spiritual course, a financial course, and direction with direction.
And you should see the smile on her face. So, there we go. Okay, so sharpness in vision. That's what you said. That there's
Yes.
sharp and outside of yourself. This is just an extension of the same energy and excitement and youth and the beginning of something that I think a lot of us feel, that I know you and I felt beginning teaching. It's something you really believe in, and it's something about the soul of a teacher who wants to be of value and to help facilitate other people, that gives deep meaning to life. I think that's teacher souls are kind of that way. And so this is just another way of doing that. I mean, when you take a perspective on something and you're doing it just for yourself, I mean, I can't even conceive of that idea. So I just assume all people are that way. But I'm thinking this is a commonality with teachers. And and in this world that we're living in right this moment, I know that it's not a majority feeling that you want to help each other out and facilitate growth and love and understanding and things like that. So good on you for finding a different version of it. Um, Tell me about this person. Is this person retired and older, or where are they in their life?
You know, where uh first I want to comment on the word soul. And the minute you said soul, my whole body went into a state of calm, because that is what this is about. It's aligning my soul with all the values. And I think you're right with teaching at that time. It was aligning the values of helping these precious children become their best selves. And and then, as you know, I have like a lot of trauma with the whole system. So this is now the system that I get to create for the people that agree and align, where we have similar alignments. You know, in a classroom, you're going to be with people that may not have your alignment values. And I'm at a stage in life now where I want to have the people in my alignment values, which is just positivity and kindness, really, and giving. Um, and I can't, and anyway, so
Yeah.
where is this? Yeah.
Remember back in the day when we were doing the Spanish immersion intermediate grades, Sharon shows up again. Our good friend Patty is there. You and I,
David, even quiet David was even on page with us.
and we talked about seriously about, we should start our own our own school. We should do
Correct.
our own, whether it's a private school or work with a public
Yes.
school under a different vision. That would be one of the coolest things. And of course, life goes on, and you're busy, and
You
you've
left.
got
I
family,
got
yeah,
pregnant.
and people have families and everything. So, but that's kind of a similar thing where we are like, we already knew the answer to that.
Okay, what you've just brought back to me, thank you. To those of you that don't know, we started this thing called the Medalla de Valor. It was the coolest thing, Sue, and that was the alignment of our values. That
Hmm.
bonded us, that bonded the team. We had a mission that was greater than just who, whatever built whatever at whatever year. It wasn't just, algebraic equations. Like, we built community. And that's one of the values that I'm coming back to, is it's connecting people and building community.
Hmm.
And we did that. And you just reminded me of that. And that to me was so sacred. And we pulled each kid outside when they did something amazing. And it was like this ceremony. Do you remember? And
Yes.
and then we would put this necklace on with a bead. And we would say, you have done like X, Y, and Z for your fellow student friend. You've made this world a better place. I mean, whatever it is we said. And then I think you had it too, but kids would walk back in the room and people would clap because they were donned this necklace. Oh my God. That's the stuff I miss.
Hmm.
That's what I loved about teaching, and that's what got lost, and that's why I'm on this side. But now I'm creating my own Medalla de Valor.
There we go.
Yes.
All right, so we got in right. We were. Where do we want to go with this conversation? We got sidetracked. Are you going to tell me about this person, or about
Oh,
your
well, I
mission,
can
or
go
do we
back
want
to
to
this
talk about the
person.
world post elections, or what are we going to do?
Um, I'm in my happy place. So I don't know if I can open that worms. I think I need to have a few drinks before we open up that one.
Well, I think it's interesting because for me, I think because of the weird way that things happened with not being able to talk about it or
And
not
being
talk about much,
gone
yeah, and being
out of
gone.
your country.
Yeah, and then so I think for me it's kind of like I've already internalized the change, and I'm just not going to not talk about things. So as something comes up and it relates to the world as it is right now, I am going to go there. I don't need to make a specific topic about post elections per se. I think we're going to be 4 years of post elections. Hopefully it's only four and not more than that. But I'm not going to I'm not going to not say things. I mean, just for example, we're over there in beautiful France, and I realize I have
And where
my
exactly were you? Set the tone, set
we
the visual.
well that it's not really that important to what I'm thinking about even, but we went to Paris. I had never been to Paris except in the airport, so that was fun. And then we went to the wine regions of Champagne and Burgundy. So that was the it all relates back to the viticulture, enology, and all that we're doing.
Okay,
So
but the story that you're about to embark on, I need a visual setting. I want
okay,
to, you woke up or
I'm
whatever the
laying there in
story.
bed at night and I can't sleep
Okay,
as
thanks.
usual.
Okay. Thanks. See, I needed that because you know what I'm thinking? You're outside having the morning cup of coffee overlooking a vineyard. So thank you. Insomnia
Yeah, no.
struck. It's dark. It's crappy. It's cold. Go ahead.
No, it was just laying in bed as usual, not being able to sleep. And that was another interesting part is like, you're like, how much of this is jet lag and
Right.
time change? Reality is, this trip was different than any other in that, I'm not sleeping anyhow. So it really kind of doesn't matter. And, it's all kind of the same thing coming back. It's just been, let's try to stay up a little bit later than usual just to try to get our bodies back on. But, good luck trying to sleep. But anyhow, um, so
All
I'm
right.
laying there not being able to sleep after the elections. And one of the things I'm thinking about is, I left my flag. I have this beautiful flagpole. I am a patriotic person. I've always I
Me
love
too.
putting my flag out. We've talked about this already, but um, I wanted to make sure that flagpole was cemented in the ground for
Oh, you're
this
even
in
more serious.
preparation. Yeah, in preparation for this election and after. And I realized I left my Kamala Harris flag up, and I'm thinking, it's standing there in the rain, and and it's kind of like a sad thing because it was supposed to be a celebration thing.
Right.
That was my vision, but it's hanging there, and so it's just kind of just like sadly hanging there. And I thought, should I ask my neighbor to go take it down? And it's like, no, you know what? I'm just going to leave it. We're in a neighborhood where people would understand, I think, what that means, and so now when I came home, it was raining. So out of respect of a flag, you should take it down. So I took it down. And then last night, as I couldn't sleep, I was thinking about, what am I going to put up instead? I've wanted to reclaim the American flag. I don't think anyone should ever let it go because you believe in this democracy thing. But when it's co-opted and you see it being horribly used or abused, then I don't want people to be confused that that's what I'm doing. It's weird that American flag flying is a symbol of anti-democracy stuff, which is just so ironic. But you know, so yeah, I'm going to put the American flag up this afternoon as soon as it stops raining, and that'll be up. But then I started going through my flags, and I'm like, what am I going to put up? I want something else. So I'm looking for a good values flag.
Canadian?
No, I'm looking for a flag that states my values and puts it out there. I'll keep flying intermediately the American flag as usual, but um, I think then shortly I'm going to be putting up the Ukrainian flag because that's been I fly
Oh,
that one regularly and it needs to be flown and people to remember and say something. And I think of my sister city here in Davis. We've got our
hmm.
sister city with Uman in Ukraine, and so sending my best wishes to the whole country, but my love and everything to you, to Uman in particular. But
Stop.
yeah,
For those of our listeners that don't know who Mon is and why you have this affinity aside from a sister city for Ukraine, can you just give us the real quick backstory?
so no, our sister city. We've got a number of sister cities, and one of them is Uman, Ukraine. I did a cultural exchange with
Thank you.
teacher
That's what I
exchange.
wanted you to get to.
Teacher exchange. So it's always about teachers, and became really good friends and people there, and so I care about the not just the city, but in particular our
The
friends that are
family, the
yeah,
people,
yeah, and
your
so
connection.
yeah, and so that'll go up. So where do we start this? Because this got twisted around. I'm not sure where we started this conversation. There was a point to putting my flag up. Oh, my voice. So that's part of my voice. I'm going whenever something comes up, my voice. I'm not going to stop it. I need to process it, and I need to. I'm thinking about ways that we can, show solidarity and model again as a teacher, as a parent. You model how you're supposed to behave and how you defend a democracy. So that's going up. That was my point.
Okay. So my approach, it's funny because we are different, but we are the same. But my job is to spread kindness and positivity.
Hmm.
That is like
Hmm.
like my mission.
Yeah, that is
And
your mission. I was going to use that same word.
yes. And in fact, I just wrote down in my journal because it reminded me of this thing that Oprah said. I love Oprah. If there's one person on this planet I want to meet, I would so love to meet Oprah. She's been my one of my guiding stars. Like, what would Oprah do? Not quite, but she said, check your basically check your it's your responsibility to bring in a good attitude when you enter this room. That's the gist of it. I don't know what the exact words are. So before you enter a room, before you enter a situation, make sure you're going in with good things. Like, check your attitude before you enter that room. And I think that that's really important. And if you can bring that positivity into where you go, I mean, it's a good thing. And hopefully it will ignite like popcorn, like our kids when they learn and they get the math concept and you can see, go, oh, 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 it's like popcorn throughout the room. So that's the job that I could try my best to do, is to bring in positivity to no matter what situation that we're in. And I am living in an environment where people think very differently than me. So it's going to be more of a mission than ever to be that example of the other side and the small minority. And that's the best I can do right now.
Well, I hear
So
you.
that's my plan.
And that's again part of the soul of a teacher is if you don't have joy and can bring your joy to the classroom, I've always felt you shouldn't.
Stay home.
Yeah, you shouldn't be in that profession. So it's the same. I really respect that you are working really hard on that. I on the other hand don't know that I need to just bring positivity. I certainly think respect is there, and kindness. At the same time, I also believe part of my mission is to be very frank, upfront, be very frank and direct about.
Hold on. I just got a little joke. Frank is a man's name. So I'm like, well, how about being very Sue?
Yeah. Well, I am being very Sue by
Sue,
being very respectful,
honest.
being very respectful. I'm going to call it out. And that's my thing. And I've always done that to some extent, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be more blatant about things. And I'm going to try to do this in the most respectful way possible. Like I respect what you're saying, and I think that's important that you do that because there's going to need to be lots of different approaches, as there always are. I don't know that if it had gone the other way, the other people would be reacting the same way. Why is it always put on us to be the models and to be respectful and
Because we
peaceful?
can.
Because we can. I know, I understand that, but there's a part of me that wants to call that out
Can't.
because had it gone the other way, as we saw the last time, there was an assault on our capital. So I'm just saying, it's not. It's tough to to be on the right side. It shouldn't be tough to be on the right side, and the side of truth and respect and kindness. And it's tough sometimes to do that in the face of so much ignorance and hatred.
Well,
And you're going like, oh God, how do we
no,
turn?
no, no, because this is the thing I've always appreciated about you, because you don't tap around things. You don't, and that is my natural inclination, right?
Well,
But you're
mine is too. I'm non-confrontational, but I'm going to
no,
confront.
but you do speak your mind, and you always have with me because it's safe. But I
Right.
appreciate that value, because that is a value that's maybe not my greatest strength at all, but it's one that I appreciate and admire in you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, it's so just like in teaching again. This is maybe our episode of just like a teacher. Just like teachers. We need different teachers that will resonate with different people we encounter out in the world. So different approaches, all with the same soul. The purpose of learning, growing, and being
Yes.
kind and yeah, the basic tenets of civilization. Yeah, successful civilization.
So I want to share a little interesting thing um, because, I'm on the other side of retirement. I'm retiring and you have retired. So, on my retiring journey, one of the things I've learned when you come up with ideas, think about who you're going to share them with. And I had a neighbor who was kind of like my muse. I didn't want to use that word with him, but a muse, if you don't know, is like the person, let's say, you're writing for, creating art for. Who is that person? Who is your audience? And it was him. He's been really lonely. He's widowed. Um, I could tell he was really hurting inside. So I wanted to make an effort to see him. And this thing that I'm creating is philanthropic in nature, but it's also about bringing in people to create a community around this philanthropy. And I thought, oh, he's the perfect one. So the night before he came, I was going to bring a proposal down to the ladies who run the farmers market because I'm going to do something very different. And it flopped. He read it and he got quiet. And I thought, my God, I shouldn't have said anything, but I thought he would be the perfect person to support this thing. And all he could say was, go back to teaching. Just suck it up and do your 6 years. And I started to defend my stance. And then it's like, it's not worth the energy. And then I told Maria about it and she said, oh, don't let it destroy you. I said, no, in fact, it did not. What was beautiful about that experience was I'm all the more committed. I'm all the more with my heels in the ground, clawing at the whatever it takes. I'm going to give it its best shot. And so in a way it made me more determined, and I thought I just wanted to share that, how interesting that by sharing, not getting the response that I had expected, it actually strengthened my resolve. And I just had to comment on that. That was another powerful moment while you were gone.
Well, I'll say, so what what specifically does that mean? What does that look like? What's the big change that
That
you're
I'm more sure and more committed. I really feel like I have actually given birth to my baby. It's just that now she's a newborn. So right now I'm starting to like set up space where nothing can penetrate it because I'm on a roll, like the law of inertia. My motion is going and I want to continue this forward motion. So I don't want anything to distract it or pull me from it. So what I take from that is it's just put more fuel in my rocket because I'm gonna see this through. And I thought, so this is the beauty of life. We get one shot. And I think my bigger self is saying, you don't want to die not having tried it. Even if it fails, you want to try this thing. Because if you don't, you're going to die really unhappy going, I should have, I should have. I don't want to say I should have. I'm going to say I did.
that's a consistent message you've had. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
resolve. And hearing something that
Oh
deflates
yeah,
you actually that's a
inflated me.
right, and that's a change. That's a good thing, and that's something that comes with all the processing you're doing, but also with age. We need
Mm.
this something that a door closes. It takes a lot to go find another door, and not yeah. So good on you.
And on a good note, so when I went down, the next morning, so I sent him out. I had to get to bed. I had a big proposal. Like I made a proposal on formal sheets, my first one. I arranged a meeting, bought them coffee. We had a real formal meeting. And what was so beautiful, Sue, they were not only so on board with the philanthropy part, because they know we're not in this place where we can make money and donate a lot. So they are teaming together to help and not charging the fee that she would normally charge. We're looking at the farmers to get the produce donated to us so we can create food in this thing I'm creating, and reaching out to the Cuban Club and putting it on Facebook so that we can get volunteers and other Cubans who will be a part of this community. It was so awesome. And then I thought of you too, because it is women. It is two women with big hearts who have for 30 years been running this market and have an invaluable amount of knowledge. So as much as I have my mentor over here, they came up with some suggestions that just, whoa, amazing. So again, amazing women and the philanthropy, I think just the warmth of these women, outstanding. Just what an adventure that was. Just that.
No, I can't wait to hear more about that as things progress. It'll be very fun. Very cool. Okay, so this is airing after Thanksgiving, the day after, in fact. And uh, it's an interesting thing. People go, "Hey, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?" It's always, "Are you making the food or are you not?" Um, and usually in the past, I've always made the food and hosted it. And I remember that. I remember my parents being here, and my dear friend Karen and her husband Richard, and other friends over the
True.
course of the year. And I remember all that, and I'm just very thankful that I had those times. And now I'm moving on to I'm going over to a nephew's house, and I'm just very thankful that I'm not doing all that. I feel badly the impact that we have, but again, if they didn't want to do it, they wouldn't do it. So it's going to be delightful. His extended family, well, their extended family and everybody, and my daughter's coming along too. So it'll be nice. We've gone and done it at their house before, and it's just reflecting on the fact that Thanksgiving looks different than to me than it did in the past. It's a nice switch. So I'm very thankful for that switch, and thankful for health and all the opportunities that we have. So just adding in that little glow for Thanksgiving.
And I'd like to jump on the bandwagon of the Thanksgiving. And I almost lost my Thanksgiving. So I decided when Maria left, I got excited to think I'm just going to have my own Thanksgiving. It's just me, Gigi, and Carl, my cat, and the three of us. And I'm so excited. Like, I thought I want to make all my favorite things. I'm going to eat off the china. So will they. Um, and then I sat down and visited with the lady up the street. She's older, and I walk her dog sometimes. And then I waffled, Sue, because she said, "Yeah, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?" And I'm thinking, oh no, she's going to be all alone. I'm like, "Oh, well, I was just going to be by myself." And she's like, I said, "Do you want to do it together?" And then she's like, "Oh, honey, that would be amazing." I'm like, "I've got the cooking. Don't worry about it," because she really has a tough time. And then she's like, next breath, "Oh, yes. And then Kathy's coming, and her friend next door is coming. And then there's Dawn, and then Jared." And then I went home and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? I thought I was just going to spend it with Carol. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I came down a few days ago, and this is where I wouldn't have done this before, Sue. I would have, just because I said I was going to, I would follow through. I'd be resentful, tired, grumpy, miserable, smile when I'm there, and then go home and like cry and collapse because I put in all this effort doing something I didn't want to do. So I looked at her and she's like, "So honey, you still going to cook?" I'm like, "Carol, I love you. But no, I just need to be alone. And I apologize, but this is my time to bond with my cat and dog. I am loving my company so much. And no, I won't be coming." And then I almost lost it again this morning. So my neighbor up the street, he's like, "Hey, because we need to make fire starters because it's cold up here and we do fire as our main source of heat." So we tentatively set up Thursday, and I realized, no, 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 no. I want to be completely alone with nothing booked. And as I was leaving, he's like, "Hey, let's have a glass of wine that night." And no. So I'm going to have to let him know, I'm sorry. Thursday is my sacred holiday for myself and my cat, my dog.
You're doing it differently. Very interesting.
Yes.
And the good thing is you give people time to figure out what else to do. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question, Sue, is, do I make it? Do I order up a Whole Foods and drive the hour to pick up the darn thing because it's so far away? Because I want a quality, organic, all from scratch kind of meal. Or do I just simply not even have it and just make it for Christmas when everybody is going to come here? And maybe just have a roasted chicken or chili.
Or pizza.
I already made it.
All right, we'll find out. To be continued.
Yes!
That wraps up this episode of Retired. Thanks for listening.
Until next week, please feel free to lend your feedback or ask questions by emailing us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. You're invited to follow us on Facebook at Retired Podcast New Tread. Check the show notes for links and contact information.
Retired is co-hosted by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It's produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Please click to subscribe so that you won't miss your chance to join our Retired Road Trip.